Hey guys, I am wondering if I am live right now. I guess I am. I guess I am. And um and so I think that that's pretty cool. That thumbnail, um, that thumbnail. Yes, I'm live. I'm live. Yes, sir. What's up? Need to connect. Um, I like the thumbnail I put up because it's supposed to be a statue of Jesus carrying the cross to Calvary, and there's a little girl trying to help Jesus lift um, the cross, and she doesn't know that it's a statue, you know. And I thought that that was a good thumbnail. Yes, flat Earth power for sure. Yes, we don't even debate it here. I mean, flat Earth is just a matter of fact. I mean, it is what it is, you know. And so, welcome, Jim. I'm glad you're here. It's always good to have new people here, and it's always good to trying to appeal to a larger audience, right? And so the larger the audience is, the more we could possibly share to someone who hasn't heard um, a lot of the truth narrative, or um, hasn't heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so, the whole point of this channel, when Tom and I first started it, was to try to appeal to truthers, right? That were into the truth movement, or they're truthers, right? And to to see if we couldn't get them to the next logical point, which is to profit from being a truther. The way you profit is to gain salvation, right? And so, um, you know, we're trying to spread the word to people that are open minded, and hopefully that helps um, people understand. It's crazy that and it, what was crazy is that for for the Bible to be real to me, right? Um, Even though I would call myself a Christian before I found out about the flat Earth, is let me get a drink of water. In order for the Bible to be true for me, it was like all these, almost everything had to be a lie, man. Right? Just to get them to just to get it to fit together, right? Just to get it to if it was one or the other was true. Either everything I learned in school was true, or the Bible was true. Now some people are able to weave them together. I don't know how they're able to do that. But what's crazy is that the least likely thing, right, um, is is what ended up being true, right? Is that everything in this world is a lie meant to separate us from Jesus Christ and our salvation, right? And it's like insane, man, to think that that's actually what's going on. And the smarter the person was or is, and I'm saying smarter in the sense that the better the student was, right, in school, right, the more deceived they were and are now, right? And yeah, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. And so, hey, Cindy, and I saw you mad about a shape. Saw you rolling. Unbelievable Productions. He's from the old school. I got to make him a moderator. And so, it's just wonderful that you know all this exciting stuff is happening right now at the end. I mean, I believe we're in the end, right? But even if we're not in the end, this is really an exciting period of time. Now, I'm almost sure that we're in the end, but there are still some things that need to happen, right? There needs to be a man of sin, and there needs to be, a couple other things. But I would say this. I was going to go a certain way with it. It's just crazy. I mean, how if you have like the wrong worldview, or not, I wouldn't even say wrong. If you had a different worldview, the whole thing is different. Everything looks different, right? I just remember being a kid and like I believed that we lived on a spinning ball and we came from monkeys and all that, and that's what I believed because that's what they told me, and I didn't get much resistance for that at home. No one told me that wasn't true, you know. And so with that worldview, right, the thought of living in a snow globe or a flat plane seemed ridiculous to me, right? And the idea of a God being real seemed ridiculous to me too, right? But now that I know the truth and I'm removed from that worldview and now I have a different worldview, now it's obvious that God is real. Obvious. It's obvious everywhere. And it's obvious we aren't moving. I mean, it's straight up obvious and laughable that I believed that we were flying around. But I did. They had me fooled. And they fooled all of us. Yeah, that's right, Jim. That's right, Jim. And so um, it's just amazing. And there's all this like outer space stuff, right, on TV, and you can look up footage of the ISS, and there's all these documentaries about space. There's all, I mean, the amount of money and study and storytelling and writing and trial and error and uh, reformulating what physics is, right? Like they've changed. I mean, just think about how much work and effort went into lying. That there are other places to go. Like how they one of their arguments, ball Earth arguments, is, well, look at everything in the sky. Everything's round. Why would we be different, right? Well, if they didn't tell us it was possible to live on a ball, right, which it's not, right, then it would be obvious why everything up there is round and we're not, because we're walking on it. I mean, the thought of walking underneath a ball is ridiculous, right? But they had us thinking that that's possible in the first place. Then when we look at what's round in the sky, we think, oh, they're like us, when they're nothing like us. And it's crazy. I know. It's funny to me too, Cindy. There are people out there that that think that I'm nuts. I mean, there's quite a few, and that's what's crazy, right? Is that really they're the ones that are nuts. They think there's all these invisible bugs that make you sick, that fly around in the air and live on surfaces, right? Bacteria, yes, we could see that, right? But viruses, right? They was believing in that. They was believing in that we're on a ball flying around, and 8 different orbital directions, 11 different vectors, right? Except, we can build a house of cards or play Jenga, I mean, that's what's crazy, is to think that kind of stuff, right? To think we came from an inferior animal, but somehow we're not as strong as that inferior animal. Like, we're a worse animal, but we're smarter. How is that evolution? You know? Um, shouldn't we be an improved animal, a stronger animal, smarter and stronger? I mean, why would we lose all of our muscle and gain in the brain, huh? Like, makes no sense at all. I used to think that gray aliens were like futuristic humans that like we're so weak and frail, and our bodies are just so out of shape, right? That and we're all gray, right? And there's no races, right? And so like I really thought that that was a possibility, that these gray aliens were like futuristic humans, right? And yes, you're right, Jim. The truth is that we're a divine creation. We are intentionally made. We are the idea of God. Every single detail of us is carefully created, all the way down to the number of hairs on our head, and we're like royalty, basically. I mean, we're pretty much like royalty. We're we are God's favorite thing. And to think that in Revelation, right, um, that we judge the angels, right? Like that's, I mean, here's a being of, here are these beings made of even a better chemistry than us, that are superior to us in every way, right? But it's us that God loves, right? And we're allowed to fall millions of times, right? Over and over and over and over and over again, right? And the angels that fell were allowed to fall once, and there's no redemption plan for them, right? We fall, and we are redeemed by Jesus, right? And so when the angels fell in Genesis 6, they fell, and there is no redemption plan for them. There's no savior for them, right? And so, yeah, we are the center of it all. And that's the thing. The world, right? Or as I call it now, just the group of Satanists that are running this place, right? Which is basically what they are. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know that we are the center of everything. And we are God's most loved thing, right? I mean, God puts us on a pedestal. I don't even know why. Like, even the best human beings I know are like, I mean, we fall short of that. Like, um, I struggle to call myself good. And, but He loves us. And, yeah. I mean, Paul said even that our best our best works are dirty rags, right? Our best works. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy that just how much God loves us, right? It's crazy just how highly God thinks of us. It's crazy what God was willing to do for us in every single way possible. God has gone the extra mile for us, and even like in the Old Testament, when God was like trying to help the Jews through through everything, basically from start to finish, right? From since Abraham, right? Like, they kept letting him down over and over and over again, and God just kept trying to make it an easier and easier and easier way. And it's like haven't uh, been any better than that since, right? And He has continually made it easier and easier for us. And then you got people that are still, well, why should I have to do blah, blah, blah in order to get saved, right? Well, I mean, all you got to do is believe, right? All you got to do is have faith. And look, this is no small price for eternity, right? Um, God had to come down as a human being, right? Live perfectly for 30 years, uh, have a ministry for a few years, right? And and then sacrifice himself, take his own wrath upon himself, right? And that's a high price to pay for salvation. And our part is simple, yes, but the whole thing was the highest price you could possibly pay. And so I know a lot of people say, well, all you got to do is this, and it seems too simple or too easy, and it should include some works or whatever. And let me break that down, right? There is nothing that I am going to do, right, that I could add to the sacrifice of Jesus Christ that's going to tip the scales in any way uh, in my favor. That's not going to happen. It's not like, oh, okay, well, the sacrifice of Jesus, and you gave that guy $10, so you're in, buddy. It's not going to be like that. And see, I used to have fear um, about in I think the back half of Matthew when um, and I'm paraphrasing here, when the Pharisees came up and said, Lord, Lord, haven't we prophesied and done wonderful works in your name? And then Jesus says, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. And see, I used to think, well, boy, I don't want that to be me, right? But now that I've gained a little more understanding from when I first read that, I know that can't be most of us, because we would never go to Jesus and start bragging about our works, right? We Anybody that would go to Jesus and start bragging about what you did for him in his name, right, obviously doesn't know him. Because if you think that Jesus is going to share uh, any of that glory with us or anybody else, he's not, and he deserves all the glory, right? And so it just it makes me feel a lot better about what I read in the back half of Matthew, right? I think chapter 25 ish, right? It's like we wouldn't go to Jesus with that, and we know better, right? And there are people out there that will go almost all the way and still not get it. And see, what that tells me is that there's going to be many Christians in these churches, right? Which, there are some good churches, some bad churches, right? But I mean, overall, I think really church may be one of the biggest enemies of God, right? Because people equate the church with Jesus, right? Or with God, right? They equate the church with Jesus, and question is deity, right? But they also equate the what the church does to other people as far as being judgmental or not inclusive, or because that's not how what Jesus is, right? He's forgiving, right? And I can think of three times in the Bible off the top of my head that we're told not to judge, right? We're especially not supposed to judge the lost. I mean, righteous judgment between two Christians, right? Like, hey, brother, I've seen you do this, and you kind of lost your shine, and maybe if you do this, it could be better for you. And then that person could, iron sharpens iron, right? Take your word for it, right? That you're seeing something they're not seeing, and that's how we judge each other, right? But even Jesus said, he was without sin, cast the first stone, because what we want is for those sinners, right? We're sinners too. We want those lost sinners to come to us humble, right? And accept that what they did was sin and get forgiveness, right? Just like we got. But to protest out in front of somewhere, um, even though I'm against what it is they're doing, right? Um, I know that I'm a sinner too, and that my job is to bring them over to where I am, not meet them where they are and ridicule them. That's not my job. And um, I love God and I love the rules now, right? I didn't always love the rules, but I also have to remember they're not my rules. And when people are breaking the rules, right, it's not my job to enforce them. That's between them and God, right? And that's what I tell them. Hey, this is the truth, and it's not up to me. I mean, it's God's rules. So I mean, focus that energy towards God, and figure it out, And so, you're right. And it's also, yes, Alex, like all the propaganda, right? Like everything in the world, all it does is like reinforce this kind of love that seems inclusive, that seems like everyone's accepted, right? And what it really is that we love you, we're all equal. Until you disagree with us, then you're not equal to us anymore. And that's that Satan kind of love, right? Where as long as you agree with us, then you're equal, But in the way God's love is that everyone is equal. He loves us all equal, and the rules are there for our benefit. And he tries to pull you up, pull you up to what you could be, to make you better, because the rules aren't there just so God can say, oh, okay, well, do what I say or else, right? And he has some kind of, he has some kind of joy out of telling us what to do, right? It's the rules are there for our benefit, and it's there to help us be better, right? Help us challenge ourselves, help us resist what we naturally want to do, right? For the sake of a higher purpose, right? And think of the group, right? More than we think of ourselves, right? And yeah, the rules and the law make us healthier, right? Now, we don't need to follow the law for salvation. That part is paid for in full by the work of Jesus Christ. But the rules are still there, and if you are really grateful that you're saved, then it's up to you how you want to behave after that. But I want to make God happy. I want God to be happy with me. I know that I'll never be holy or perfect or even, like Paul's definition of good, right? But I know that there are things that I do that make him happy, and there's things that I do that make him probably grieve, And that's the last thing I want, is for God to grieve any more over me after the way I've lived my life, And I think that if people don't have any remorse for any part of their life, they feel like they haven't done anything wrong to ask forgiveness, then, I don't even know if that person's reasonable enough for me to explain things to, Like if there are people that say, well, I try not to do anything I need forgiveness for, or I can't think of anything that I've done wrong, right? And when people say that, it's like, I mean, if you're that deluded, right? I don't know if it's just like saying, like, if you believe we went to the moon in that tweaker hut, then I can't carry that conversation further. So if you think you haven't sinned, right, in the same way, like, I can't. There's nothing I could say to you. And you know what? It's up to God anyway. Like I can plant a seed, and God will water that, and hopefully um, it'll grow. Right? Right. Right. I don't know what else to call it, Jim. You look at that structure, right? And you look at that structure that they apparently went to the moon 6 times in, and if you don't get the joke, then that's on you, and that's that's definitely your prerogative to believe, and so good luck with that. But obviously they're mocking us with that thing. Obviously that's a big joke, right? Obviously that's they're making fun of us. And that's what, like, that's the crazy part about, like, when you're so when I was in the hospital and um I was around regular people all the time, they defend the liar and against me like I'm the enemy, right? And really it's it's the liars are laughing at them like they're fools, right? And yeah, sure, the liars don't like me either, right? But at least they have to respect me that I'm not an idiot, right? And so, not that anybody that believes in all that stuff is an idiot, but what I'll say is that once somebody points it out to you, a couple of anomalies, yeah, you should look into it. I mean, remember, we're supposed to be lovers of the truth, right? Didn't Jesus say the truth would set us free, right? Didn't Jesus equate himself to the truth? He said he was the truth, right? And that means that the truth is Jesus, right? And hey, that's pretty heavy, isn't it? That the truth is so valuable to us that Jesus equates himself to the truth. He's the way, the truth, and the life, right? And so I take it serious. Oh, I'm glad that there's 15 people here. I think it's thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing the information with each other, or whatever, sharing the link. I'm sure that's part of it, but I think also what's part of it is that, coming on at the same time all the time. I think that is good. And it's hard to come up with enough material to do 2 hours, right? 2 separate hours, a morning hour and an evening hour. And, I tried to get a little outline going and just kind of go from there. But I'm definitely not, I definitely don't have a full outline prepared. But I'm doing my best. And really, this is really a good chance for us to come together and kind of unwind. And, after watching truth videos all day, right? Or being at work all day, or whatever we've had to do, right? It's good to come together and share ideas and insight that we have with each other. And see, this is the thing, right? Um, like we think about like Operation Paperclip, which is definitely in our history, right? That the Nazis came to NASA and started NASA, right? And that's true in our history. If you research it, you'll find that out, right? Um, but now I'm at the point where like, can we even trust the history, right? Can we even trust the history that we're checking, right? Like, how do we know um, that's not a lie? And then, the research behind that conspiracy would be another lie, right? How do I know it's not layers and layers and layers? But Mike, that's exactly where I'm at with it. Is that Operation Paperclip, that Nazis came over and that's who started NASA. And it's just like you wonder, like, how much of history is even true, I mean, is it there just to throw us off? I mean, I was trying to explain like um, a few shows ago, like I believe that China is a country that exists to a high degree, right? I believe it to a high degree, but I've never been there, um, seen it. I'm not sure. Like I don't know that it's there for sure, but I believe it, of course, because there's people that say they're from there, and I've seen, images on TV and all this stuff, right? But I've also seen images of space. I've also seen images of a lot of things, right? And so we really got to be careful when we say what we know and what we don't know, right? I am more sure that the earth is flat and motionless, right, than I am that there is a China, right? And if that isn't telling, then I don't know what is. And so, okay, so that's good. Antivenom, right? We have like a first person account, right? Like, so your grandfather was SS, right? And it's 100%, right? Well, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, it's good to know to get information that close to source, right? And so, while these things might be true, right? We really gotta be careful with what we say. Do we really know anything, right? And I think that like the controllers, right, have um, really been like evil geniuses about this kind of thing. They put in like game shows like Jeopardy, right? Um, there to entertain us, right? But all it's doing is reinforcing this fakeness, right? This fake stuff, right? That we think, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I know that. But we don't know it. We believe it, right? And we have um, regurgitating from a book, right? We're equating that with knowing that for ourselves, right? And I ran into one guy that said if you don't have a degree in a certain field, you don't have the right to question it. And I would challenge that to say um, if you have a degree in that field, you wouldn't question it. Like a lot of these people that like professors and people that have a really really high in-depth education, right? They're elitists, right? They don't use their brain to help humanity, right? They use their brain to make money and to gain an edge on other people, right? It's a tool um, that they use for power, right? And when I say they're elitists, I say that they're more likely to do things for a trophy, right, than they are for um, humanity. And I say it like that with a broad brush because certain things attract different types of people, right? Now, let's say politics, right? Let's say being a president of the United States, right? Obviously, we know that's all selected, but let's say that it was a fair system, right? Well, something that competitive at the very highest levels, right, is not going to attract people that are real empathetic, right? It's going to attract people that are competitive, that are willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And the more competitive the thing is, the more chance of something nefarious being done, right? And so it's weird that I used to scrutinize everything that questioned the narrative, right? And now I've learned that turning that scrutiny around and scrutinizing the source, man, these narratives fall apart. And so when somebody says, like, Stephen, why do you think this, thing on the news is fake, right? Before I answer that question, right, I'm going to flip it around. Well, why do you think it's real? Because when I would start answering, right, why I think it's fake, right, I line all this stuff up and they look at me like I'm crazy. Now, if I start off with, well, why do you think it's real? They have a very short list of why they think it's real. Because they heard it and they believe it. And that's the same thing with um, that's the same thing that they're accusing us of doing, looking at a YouTube video and believing it, you know. And that's not what we're doing, you know. We're we're questioning we're questioning everything and going deeper and deeper, you know. Yeah, you're right. The Hegelian dialectic, you know, problem, reaction, solution, and they're doing it all the time. I mean, they're doing it now. You know, it's just crazy. Hey guys, be good to each other in there. We're all here to learn, you know. Yeah, that's crazy. That's all they need is problem, reaction, solution. That's it. And people can't wait to line up for this. They can't wait to line up for the next shot or the next thing or whatever, right? Like, um, they lap it up, you know? And why would you go to a man that's not a doctor and nobody elected him to be a leader, right? And go to him for um, solving what you think is an infectious disease? Does that any of that make sense? And then not only that, but then allow a shot into your body. And I'd say like a good portion of those people, if not almost all of them, they don't know what's in that shot. They couldn't tell you right now. If you walked up to somebody that has been vaccinated, there's no way that, you know, most of them are not going to be able to tell you what's in it. And these are the same people where if you put something green on their dinner plate, they would say, "Hey, man, what's in this?" You know, before I eat it and put it in my body, right? They wouldn't eat something that they don't know what it is, but they'll put something injected into their body and they don't know what it is. It's crazy. Oh, somebody's trying to call me. That number popped up. Someone's gonna try to call that number. I mean, there's so many ways that like uh, people that disagree with you, they'll um, you know, try to dox you in certain ways. I don't care. It's probably some sales call. I have my thing set up to where if I let it ring a couple times, it'll tell me if it's a scam or not. And so, um, most of the time that anybody calls me, it's a scam unless a name pops out. I only usually answer if I know the person's name. So if I give out my number, it's just to get somebody could text me. You know, I mean, isn't it crazy how we gotta like that? That's how we have to be. That you can't just answer the phone anymore and say hello. You know, without knowing who it is. I mean, it's crazy, huh? And see, I was one of these people that um, I would be paranoid or you know, like I used to think every camera was looking at me and every microphone was picking up my voice or whatever. And now I wouldn't call it paranoia. I just accept it. That's what's happening. And if they want to look at me, then oh well, you know, good for them. I don't even care anymore. You know, it's I'm 100% sure that everything that I put out there in the universe is out there. I say universe as in one verse, right? God created the heavens and the earth, right? Everything I put out in this creation is still there, right? And that's what computers has done for at least the last two generations, right? Is you know, everything they do is recorded and everything they do is will last forever and exist on that cloud or whatever. And since information is a real substance that has to travel on a wave, right, to get to where it's going. It's not like some magical thing, right? Um, it's actual physical stuff that's out there. It exists, right? Even if you delete it from where you're looking at it, it still exists somewhere. You can't get rid of it, you know. And they have us believing that we can delete whatever and it's gone, right? It's not gone. Everything you put on your phone, everything you've done, it's out there. And I'm not saying that to have anyone be scared, but I mean, obviously, you see these like traffic cams and all that stuff, right? And all these cameras and all these businesses, right? Yeah, sure. Some of that like is for like theft, right? And some of that is for to give out tickets or whatever, right? And that's all well and good, but if you don't own a phone, right, or any electronic device in your house, right, you're still, if you go outside, the average person is on camera 8 times a day, just with being, in some grocery store or, traffic cams or, freeway cams or whatever, right? Like, they have us, man. And I don't think there's as many people in the world as they say, 8 billion or whatever. I think there's something close to 1 billion. Might even be half a billion. And the reason I say that is right is take YouTube is the I think the biggest social network, that and Facebook, right? YouTube and Facebook are the largest social medias, right? And now while 40% of the world doesn't have a toilet, which is a real number, that's crazy to me that almost half the world doesn't have a toilet. 80% of the world has a cellular telephone, which means there's people with no toilets that have a cell phone. And so if 80% of the world has a cell phone and there's 1 billion accounts on YouTube and Facebook, then there can't be much more than that in the world. I mean, I don't think. I mean, that's my logic on that. I mean, there would definitely be more than 1 billion on each thing, right? If there was 9 billion people. And so, and I guess not every country has access to everything, right? There's some countries that are together on the BS they tell everybody. And there's some countries that just tell their people their own thing, right? But the more and more I learn this stuff, the more I realize there isn't any countries, right? They are all connected. And maybe they run things differently in different places, but they're all connected. And remember this, right? When we're talking about churches, right? Like a building, right? Those churches are businesses. People go there for a job and make money, right? It's a business, just like any other business. And to get certain tax breaks, they have to do certain things. And they do. And, but when I say the church, right? The church, I'm referring to us, the body of Christ. We're the bride of Christ. We're the church. Churches, buildings that are called churches, right? And I've been to some that have a lot of loving people there, and I think they all talk about the right things, but I still think overall churches might be a big enemy to God, because I don't think very many Christians read the Bible, I mean, I know that after reading the Bible, I had a totally different opinion about God than I did before it. Yeah, I think that churches were supposed to be like small groups of people. We weren't supposed to be as connected and dependent on each other as we are right now. I think we were all supposed to be self-sufficient, right? And have like, small communities where we get together and we, read out of the Bible. That's the only book people had at some one point in life, you know. And then, when everybody starts writing books, right? There's a medium for people to control. I'm sure that every Joe Schmo couldn't just write a book back then. Um, Back then, only certain people got published. And now anybody could write a book, right? Now anybody can get on YouTube and read one verse of the Bible and have their own doctrine, right? Some people read half a verse. You know, that's sad, right? They read half a verse and they have their own doctrine. It's crazy. But then there's people that I'll see that are saying like, some pretty cool stuff, right? And it seems like everything they're saying is on point. It's hard to trust anybody nowadays. I mean, I guess there isn't one particular place that I can say that I go to and trust everything. And maybe we're not supposed to trust everything from um I don't even call us humans anymore. We're mankind, men and women, right? And we all have equal value, right? Just because there's gender roles assigned in some places, right? Doesn't mean we're not that we're not equal value. You know. In fact, it's the seed of the woman that crushes the serpent, meaning that Jesus didn't have a human father, right? The seed of the woman. And so I would say that that's pretty important. And, of course, my opinion on the Bible is, I'll share my thoughts and everything, but I'm not a teacher. And, I'm not going to be able to break it down and teach. There's some people that are just called to teach, some people that are talented in that way and to interpret scripture, but I know that I read it for myself and I think I know what I'm reading and I don't mind sharing that. But always double check everything that I say. Don't believe me. I would be in, I would, you wouldn't be the type of person I'm appealing to if you didn't check on everything that you heard, I don't even think you'd be here if you didn't question everything. And so, hey, True Two. So you had some stuff removed. So like, how do so when you have stuff archived, right? Is there like a donation we could give or something like that? Because I don't know if you have last time we talked, did you have a PayPal account back then, or you were still putting all that together? And then, of course, I've been in the hospital for 70 days, right? 72 days. Yeah, if there's some kind of donation or something for, you backing up all that stuff, that's cool. Okay, you have a PayPal. Like, what's the suggested donation? And that's actually not a bad deal because I know that you back up a lot, like almost you were backing up every truth channel. And so that was kind of valuable because, no, not kind of, it was valuable because if a channel got deleted here, all that work would be saved. And there was something I had deleted the other day, and I went to leave you a comment that it was deleted. Okay, well, you know, I'll get over there and I'll figure it out. Okay. Okay, it's not online right now. Oh, TrueTube is not online anymore. It's only that archive site you sent me. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll go over there, and I think in your description there should be like a PayPal, right? I don't have a lot, but I'll help what I can. I mean, I just got out of financial trouble, and now I'm like at a point where um, I have enough, right? And I never usually have that much more than enough, but a lot of good people helped me out of a jam I was in, and I want to do my best to to stay afloat. I owe that to them, you know. So anyway, I try to get on here, um, 2 times a day for an hour, right? And I really didn't have 2 hours worth of stuff to say, but here we are at an hour, right? And it is just crazy that I guess when I'm talking to you guys live and I see you guys here, because I know there's some of you here that we've had conversations on the phone, and I just don't run out of things to say to you guys. And I have that feeling that this is a pretty tight group, and I want you guys to welcome like new people when they come, and when you see people that have like, their beliefs aren't lined up with ours, let them marinate a little bit with us and see if that doesn't help them, unless somebody's acting a fool up in here. But man, I really appreciate you guys, because when you're out there in the world, right? Um, I would say, regular people, right? They don't want to hear the truth. They get triggered by it, right? And it's like us. That's all we want to talk about is the truth. And so we're important to each other. And without you guys, I don't know if I would still have my sanity the way it is, right? I would be, it's true what they say, the longer you stay in a sick environment, the sicker you get. And if, hanging out in this world, all we do is get sicker and sicker and sicker. So now that I can avoid the TV, avoid these things that are like, were variables on my life, right? And I could, I know who told me I had sanity. No, but now I could shut that off and avoid that, and then talk to you guys, right? And I don't have to be in that sick environment all the time. And I know that this is kind of an echo chamber. I try not to put anybody out that has dissenting opinion, right? But so it's not a true echo chamber, but it's good for us to be around like-minded people. I'll say that. Like-minded people that don't want to be sick anymore. And yeah, okay, so a lot of us are like, oh yeah, I can't wait till the Lord comes back and gets us, right? Not because that this is anything unbearable for us, right? Like, it's probably a 1 or a 2 or a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as how how bad it really could be, right? It's just that we don't fit here. At a 10 level, we don't fit here. Even if I'm experiencing joy living here, I know I don't fit here. And of course, we don't want to be here because there's a better place for us. We know what this world is. But there are people out there that think this is all we get. And that's sad. That's sad. Here, TrueTube, I'm gonna give you a wrench, and you can go ahead and put that in the chat. You go ahead and put that link in the chat so people can like check it out. It's like an archive of all the true stuff, and it's definitely a worthy thing to be a part of or invest in or whatever. I don't endorse anything, but that's where most of our stuff is, right? If a channel gets deleted, I just go straight to him because he has them. He has all that stuff. Or most of it. Yeah, go ahead and put the link in the chat so that way people could click on it if they want. Yeah, we will all have the mind of Christ soon. That is exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait until I'm incorruptible, right? Imagine the thought of that. Incorruptible, you know? Nothing could corrupt us at that point, right? We're going to be content and happy. And we're going to fit in because that's where we belong. And to all of us who we never felt right in our own skin, or we always felt out of place, or we always felt like the world was weird, or something just wasn't quite right? Now we're learning that it's because we don't fit here, and this world is messed up, and there is a place that we fit, and that makes me so happy. Just looking forward to that makes me happy, And so, yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. And I'm going to say God bless you. Thank you for coming out here and watching this live. And thanks for spending this hour with me. And, God bless you. And praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. And just know that faith in the finished work of Jesus, that he died for our sins, and he rose from the dead 3 days later, and then he ascended to heaven on his own authority. And he did this in front of many, many witnesses. And so I'm just happy about that. It's better than knowing that you won the lottery, I think it's time to get going. You guys have a good night, okay? See you later. I'll be live tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning, California time.